Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. It's less than 50 days to the 2023 general election, and INEC just last week moved the distribution of the permanent voter cards to the registration areas, urging validly registered voters to take advantage of this awards opportunity, particularly for those who are yet to get their voter cards. We understand by the 15th of this month, and quite a number of Nigerians have trooped out to have their PVCs collected. The big question would be, how has the process been? Has it been simple and hitch-free? How long does it take to get the cards? How true are the extortion stories that we're hearing about from certain people called agents at the INEC offices? And we'd like to hear from you as well. You can tag me on Twitter using @Nifemi Oguntoye and the hashtag #ThisMorningTVC. You can also call in the second half of the show. Let's know what your experience has been. Reports are, however, showing a mixed bag of issues. While collection has been seamless in some places, it's been an Herculean task, particularly in wards with high turnout of residents. So this morning we're discussing the PVC collection hiccups and INEC's preparation ahead the big one in February. I'm joined by Wale Ogunade, constitutional lawyer and national president of Voters Awareness Initiative. Good morning, Mr. Ogunade. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Dr. Festus Okoye is INEC's national commissioner and also the chairman of the Commission's Information and Voter Education Committee. He's joined us virtually on the program this morning. Dr. Okoye, good morning to you.
Good morning.
All right, let's begin in the studio. We've gone 29 days, barrister, into the distribution of PVCs to registered voters. There are about some 13 more days to go, given the INEC deadline. What's your assessment of the process thus far?
So far, it's a mixed bag. In some places, smooth. In some cases, names misspelled. In some cases, sex turned over. In some cases, their cards are not there. In some cases, confusion, rowdiness, and so on and so forth. And in some places that I've been able to, and some members of my team, we've been able to organize them, particularly letting those who are involved, the INEC staff, to know that, look, just organize these people. Sometimes we'll tell them, give them a tag. The tag will be there. That's a tally number, as it were. We'll write it down. As soon as anybody comes, you give him a tally number, and they sit according to that one. Or once they come, every 10 people, we create a space somewhere different from the crowd, so that those people who will be the next in queue sit down when it's their turn. When the 10 is vacated or dispensed with, another set of 10 come in, and so on. Of course, in some cases too, we help provide some refreshments to some people as we are empowered to. And that's the thing so far. And of course, our people in the south, south, in other parts of the country too, have the same story to tell. So it's not as if it's smooth all through. And of course, it's a mixed bag.
But what are your thoughts about the turnout, particularly when you look at it relative to previous elections?
Massive, particularly the youths. This time around, yes, very much, particularly the youths. I guess there are activities that we have been involved with, really encourage the youths. Not only did they go to collect, to register, but they are now struggling, which I appreciate. They are struggling to collect their PVC. And I put it with all authorities, struggling, unlike before. If there is a crowd there, they will say, I don't get time, Jerry, I go. But this time around, you see them struggling. They struggle, they are not deterred. They want to collect their PVC. I hope it will not end there. I hope they will now take it to the polling unit on election day. That is the cocoa of the whole thing.
Indeed. Dr. Okoye, I know you're getting reports from resident electoral commissioners on a daily and weekly basis. What's your assessment of the process thus far? Do we know, do we have an update as to the percentage of cards that have been collected right now?
We can't have a percentage as to the number of cards that have been collected right now because there are 3 sets of cards that are being issued to individuals. The first set of cards relates to the cards of those who registered prior to the 2019 general election and who have not collected their cards. So these are the backlog of cards that we have in our store. And these cards have also been made available for collection. The second relates to those who carried out transfer and those whose cards were lost, defaced, or or had one challenge or the other. And then the third relates to the case of those who registered between the 28th day of June 2021 and those who and 31st day of July 2022. These are the three sets of cards that are being collected. Our resident electoral commissioners are giving, some of them are giving daily update of collection from all the local governments. Some of them are giving update every 2 days, and some of them are giving weekly updates. I was in Anambra State, in Oka precisely, between the 6th and 7th of January, and I did supervise collection in Aguleri, Umweri, in Oka South, Dunukofia, Oyi local government, and so on. And the turnout has been really, really impressive. And rather than close at 3 p.m. every day, our staff close at 5 p.m. every day. And so the staff are also giving out their best. Yes, there are challenges in a few of the registration areas, but in all those areas where we notice that there are challenges, we have sent in. As you know, these cards are being given out and made available for collection in 8,809 registration areas or wards. And the resident electoral commissioners have also been asked and given the mandate to use their own initiative to be very creative in terms of making these cards available. In some places, the various communities are providing security. They are also providing some level of assistance to our officers who are giving out these cards. And so what we counsel is patience and understanding. And we assure Nigerians that every validly registered person who wants to collect his or her cards, we have an opportunity of doing so.
So, Dr. Okoye, you talked about three categories of PVCs, some who have registered before 2019, some who are coming for replacement, and then the newly registered voters. I'm looking at the timeline, December 12 and January 22. Did this distribution of voter cards, is it also capturing those who have registered before 2019? Are you saying that there was no opportunity to have those collected prior to this time?
No, as you're aware, we gave every registered person an opportunity of collecting his or her cards, but some persons did not collect their cards up to this particular period. Even those who registered and couldn't collect their cards in the areas where we conducted off-season governorship election and by-elections, we also made the cards available, but so many of them did not collect. So we are going to the registration areas once again with this cluster of cards and also urging people to come forward and collect these cards. Not only that, the commission has made available the list of all the registration areas or electoral wards in the country, and we've distributed to civil society groups and organizations, we've given to our electoral officers, we've given to president of the various town unions, we've given to the critical stakeholders. Not only that, we have also made available phone lines through which people can call and know where their registration area is, so that they can just walk into the place and collect their cards.
All right. We'll talk about some of the reported challenges in a short while, but let's take a short break, Dr. Okoye.
Let me make this very clear.
Yes. Indeed. Let's take a short break and we'll be back with more. Stay with us.
Everyone has a Chivita this season. What's your Chivita?
Thanks for staying with us. There are quite a number of reported challenges faced by registered voters who have turned out to collect their PVCs. One of it will be the large crowds at the collection centers. There are reported clumsy process and processes that are not quite organized. There are also allegations of extortion, the fact that some agents are collecting as much as 3,000 naira from voters, from registered voters, to help them exchange their slips with their PVC. There's also reported cases of inadequate number of INEC officials to cater to those who have come around. But we have a package on that story. We'll take that and we'll return with the discussion.
It is day 2 for the permanent voter card distribution from the local government to ward levels by the Independent National Electoral Commission. INEC has set aside 6th to 15th of January as date to bring PVC closer to the grassroots. In the Enugu South local government area, some residents were cited at their word, expecting INEC officials. They looked depressed and frustrated, alleging it was a deliberate action.
It means that they don't want people to get their voters' cards. They might do one thing or the other to the voters' cards so that people cannot make use of it.
Myself, I've gone to the court, where they call the court, for how many times? Spending money. And they say they are spending the PVCs for ward levels. Here I am now, but nobody's here.
Apara Square is where the Independence Layout Ward 11 holds, although INEC staff were reported to come late for the distribution, but the exercise went seamless.
Many people have collected their card. They came around, they came late, around 10 o'clock. So I'm sure that up to 200 people have so far collected their card, and more people are coming, and the exercise is seamless.
The people want the commission to engage ad hoc officials to assist in the distribution of voter card exercise.
We have enough staff. I think they should involve the youth corpers for them to assist them, because they really need more hands on this.
So government should step up and send delegates, at least people that will begin to go from ward to ward, and make sure that this thing is distributed.
The 10 days exercise seems to have gotten more persons awake, wanting to collect their PVCs. They only need the push from the electoral umpire to dispatch more men and resources to ensure the allotted time are judicially expended. INEC commenced the PVC distribution on the 12th of December, expected to end on 22nd of January, being the 33 days to the general election. With less than 7 weeks to the election, INEC has reaffirmed its stand that no eligible voter will participate in the poll without PVC, hence the massive voter registration and collection, mostly by the youth. Bamidele Ajayi, TVC News, Enugu.
So, Mr. Gode, like you said before, it's been a mixed bag of issues raised in the ongoing collection exercise. But have you heard anyone talk to you about extortion? Some of the reports are flying online.
I heard it too. Maybe because they know me. Maybe so. The 3 places I went, whenever I'm around, maybe while parking, before I get to the point, I'll just find out that there's calmness. No, but at least if they extorted, I'm sure those dudes that were extorted will report. But there wasn't such situation where I was mixed up and assure them that is it your finger? Because most of the time it's going to be the biometrics that will be used, and they shouldn't worry. The idea is that the PVC now is just going to be your means of identification that indeed you registered here, and of course you're going to vote. So they shouldn't worry about that. That was I used in calming the nerves of those whose name were misspelled or whose sex was switched over. That's maybe 1 or 2 about their home addresses and so on. I said, well, do you have a national identity card? He said, yes, and then that one will suffice for this one. But generally about the extortion, it's not to my knowledge.
But what has been that experience? Because most of the issues we're having with people who have gone to INEC offices have been the fact that there is no...
INEC will now look at it, and I'm happy Festus is on the program, and of course is listening to us, that they should make arrangement for such things. And that's where people like us come in, that are on the grassroots, that have our representatives all over. This thing is not strictly official. And I challenge him. When they even want to do their voter awareness thing, maybe they will just do one day, maybe in one major street. That's the officers, of course, they've given them the support to do it. Just start something. Whereas groups, the civil societies that are involved in this thing will storm the streets, they will go around the town to ensure that this is done. Then, of course, to your answer to your question, obviously, if you remember, when the first time that we were having this, when this issue of voters card PVC came in for us to register, and when the machine was not was not good, that it was rejecting fingers and so on, many of us were involved in ensuring that there was a tent set up, a better pass my neighbor generator are brought in to power those machines that were breaking down. And of course, most of us will buy methylated spirit to ensure that with the cotton wool to clean up the hands. I'm sure you experienced it the way you are nodding your head. So all those things are things. Nigeria belongs to all of us. You can't allow the Nigerian to feel there are some naysayers. We are not naysayers. We are patriotic Nigerians who want it well with Nigeria. It does not matter. Maybe one want to be engaged. They don't recognize us, but we will continue to do our bit because we know Nigeria belongs to us.
Indeed it does. Dr. Okoye, how many of these reported challenges have you been able to validate? Large crowds, clumsy system, extortion, allegations of extortion, and then the fact that there are inadequate number of INEC officials to attend to people.
Well, I have also gone around, and the national commissioners supervising a cluster of states have also been directed to pay close attention to what is going on in their states, in their various states. Now, it is true that in some registration areas, we recorded large crowds. There are also some registration areas where we don't have individuals. And so what we have done is to direct resident electoral commissioners to profile some of these registration areas, and in the places where we have large crowds, to engage in some intervention mechanism that will ameliorate the situation. But as I pointed out, our staff have been working assiduously to make sure that people collect their voters' cards. Now, on the issue of extortion, I don't think that any of our staff has the time to engage in the extortion people are talking about. There's a possibility that there are some individuals who are touts who may just cluster around some of the registration areas and extort people. If people want to be extorted, they will be extorted. If people want to offer money for services, definitely they will offer money for services. But I don't think that it should be blamed on our officials. Our officials have been doing their work in the manner that we directed them. I want to plead that people who go to collect their cards should on no account whatsoever try to corrupt our staff, or try to induce our staff, or try to get our staff to do what is unethical and what is not professional and what is not provided for in the Electoral Act. But I agree with my colleague in the studio that we should also have some stakeholder engagement. The registration areas or the electoral wards where these cards are being made available does not belong to the independent national electoral. So in some places, even personnel to organize the crowd and do some other things. So I think that the various stakeholder groups in the various communities should also assist the commission in making sure that the process and the exercise is seamless. But let me also emphasize.
Yes.
Just a minute. Let me also emphasize that that if you are in Lagos and you are in Lagos State, and you carry that transfer, you say you no longer want to vote in Lagos State, that you want to vote in Ogun State, and you want to vote in Abeokuta South local government, we are going to take your card to Abeokuta South local government because your registration in Lagos has been cancelled. So you don't have to go back to the place where you carried out the transfer in Lagos to go and look for your card. Secondly, those who engage in double or multiple registration, we didn't print their cards. I also realized as I was going around that there are some persons who lost their cards. Rather than report that they have lost their cards so that we can print a replacement for them, they went and registered afresh. For this group of people, we didn't print their cards because their data is already on our database, and we regarded their second registration as double or multiple registration. And so these are some of the challenges we are facing, and we are making efforts to make sure that our officers educate people who come along in relation to some of these issues.
So I understand your appeal, Dr. Okoye, that people should not give anyone money for their PVCs, but I hope that you also agree that if certain agents, as they call them, are collecting money to exchange voter slip with voter cards, they couldn't have done that without collaboration with INEC structures that will make it impossible for these agents to work. If there are no INEC officials aiding them, there won't be anybody to give money to. But an INEC official was also quoted to have said that one of the challenges they had was that people were turning out at the registration, at the wards without their registration slips. Perhaps you will help us, walk us through the process and what is expected of a registered voter when they come in for their PVCs.
We've made it clear that no individual can collect PVC by proxy. If you are a man and you registered, you must collect your card yourself. You can't come and collect your card and also collect that of your wife or that of your children. So you must come in person to collect your card. Not only that, when you approach any of our officers, you must provide the slip which was given to you at the point of registration. If you are unable to provide the slip, you must provide a very good identification, either a driver's license or a national identity card turned up to come and collect his or her PVC is the person who really registered. And so we are not going to give out any PVC by proxy, and that's part of the challenge. So if people had the courage to come and register, they ought to have kept their slip in a very good condition, in a very good place, so that they can lay their hands when it is time for them to collect their PVCs.
So without the slips, you can't get a PVC?
No, sure.
I'm saying that without the slip, you must show a very good identification, either a driver's license, a national ID card, or an international passport.
And that's possibly what's also making the process get longer. Let's take a short commercial break and we'll be back with more. Stay with us.
Everyone has a Chivita this season. What's your Chivita?
Staying with us, Mr. Ogunade, it seems it boils down to discipline and character on the part of Nigerians to enforce that money is not being exchanged. Because some people get there and say, oh, there's no way I'm waiting for this long period. Let me just give someone money to do it for me. How do we correct this from the stakeholders' perspective?
Yes, from us is about advocacy, advocacy, advocacy. I agree with you, and I really appreciate Nigerians who have moved. When we started this project close to 15, 20 years ago, nobody believed that it would get to this place. The electoral process is getting better and better by the day. People are now becoming more involved, more patient with the electoral process. But again, I will take it away from the electoral process now and heap it on the generality of Nigerian way of doing things. The element of civility is coming in gradually. People now want to do things gently too. Yeah, there's a queue now. There's a petrol crisis now. People queue. Before, you see, getting into a petrol station, even before, roads leading to petrol stations are always blocked. That it is mayhem is a terrible thing. But now you see that people will now be on a long queue, no matter how long the queue. It can be as long as from Lagos this point, this TVC road, down to where is it, K2. People will be on the queue. Not that they will jump lane. And the same thing everywhere. You go to the banks too now, you see people queuing, even in the ATM machine or even inside the banking hall. You go to the hospital, I want to use it as a general thing now. And where am I going concerning this? Yes, there are still some people who still believe that money is everything. I will go take money, buy my time, buy my space, buy what I want, get passed through anything. Yes, it will happen, and it happens. And just as I said, I didn't witness, but I heard that, yes, along the line, obviously, it's a natural thing. There are some people who are quick guys or quick girls, too. They just believe that they can. And, of course, don't forget that Nigerians, what I like the Nigerian person for, the smart guys, most of them, they call themselves the worry boys. Worry boy, no, they don't. Right. So they will always take advantage of a situation. And what's the situation? They know there is a queue. They know that there will be one or two people who will always be in a hurry. So they will say, nah, Oga, I will help you get on. Where is your sleep? I will help you. So obviously they will go meet the. Meanwhile, they will have arranged with the INEC guy, the staff. So once they come to them, they get it's done everywhere. You want to travel? in the airport too, there are some people who will not want to go on the queue. They will have made made arrangement with their touts in the airport, so they know you go give them a tip and your travel document. Pronto, they make arrangement with the immigration people. You pass, even if it's even boarding passes. Boarding pass, you see them at the airport. They arrange your boarding pass for you. All you need to do is that they will come and meet you 2 minutes after, Oga, here is it, and you go. And they check you in at the boarding gate. So
it is not an INEC issue.
It's not an INEC, that's a Nigerian factor.
It's a Nigerian factor.
It's a Nigerian factor. So, but again, we hope that INEC will now work on it.
People can also put their foot on the ground and say, that's not going to happen.
That's it. So once that is done, that's why we say, let all of us now agree that indeed this miasma can stop, and it can stop by this process.
Indeed. Dr. Okoye, let's talk about security arrangements around collection centers. There was a reported case of thug harassing people in a particular collection center in Edo State. Is there a security arrangement? How do other stakeholders also get involved and own this process?
There's security arrangement around our registration areas and the electoral wards. But in some places also, the various communities, the various local groups have also made some level of arrangement in terms of crowd control and also in terms of providing some level of security to our officers. One, to make sure that nobody harasses them. Secondly, to make sure that people stay on the queue. And third, to make sure that those who do not see their PVCs at the point of collection do not cause trouble. So it's a mixed bag, as you said. In some places, we cannot operate effectively because the security is not adequate. And you know that some of our officers are alone, and some of them are just two. But in all the places where we have received report, we have made the adequate arrangement to obviate or ameliorate the situation. The security situation is not top-notch, but it is adequate for us to operate.
So the INEC chairman late last year had said it will be difficult for the commission to recover if the attacks on its facilities continued unabated at the pace it was at that time. What's your assessment of what the current situation is right now, and how sustainable is this security arrangement counting down to the election?
Two levels of security arrangement in relation to our state and local government offices. You know that we have offices in the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. And we also have offices in the 704 local government areas of Nigeria. Now, in our state offices, security has been beefed up because we have started receiving non-sensitive materials in this the type of the level of security we have in the local government offices is not sufficient for us to do adequate deployment of non-sensitive materials. We have deployed over 60% of the non-sensitive materials required for this election. But you know, some of our offices have been burnt, some of them that cannot be repaired. We have moved to new locations. Some of them that can be repaired, we are repairing them and also moving materials to these places. But as the chairman pointed out, for the attacks that have already taken place, we had mechanisms and we had planned to recover from some of these ones. The one in Abeokuta South local government, we have moved to a new location and we have started operations in a new location. The one in Izi, we are getting a new office and we are going to operate from there. But if the attacks continue, in the places where these attacks take place, it will be difficult for us to recover because ballot boxes and voting cubicles are not obtained from the shelf. You can't go to a supermarket and then obtain them because you have to manufacture them, you have to bring them in and so on. But we are confident that Nigerians are desirous of having this particular election to also protect our offices. And for the commission, we have also put in strategic mechanisms to make sure that our facilities and our equipment that are fundamental to the conduct of elections are not touched. And so we have our various mechanisms, both internal and external mechanisms of safeguarding our offices and our facilities.
Jos, Ada's called in from Jos. Good morning, Ada.
Me and your guest there. Good morning, Ada, calling from Jos Plateau State. I must commend INEC for the efforts they have put in so far to make sure they conduct a free, fair, and credible election, but there's still room for improvement. I don't know, from the ones I watch on television, it looks as if everything is just put in a bag, you know, and all that. Let them sort them out and in alphabetical order. Like my name now is Onogo. Then they, like you, all the use will be in the same bag with a label. So when people come, you can now go to that bag. So the sorting out will be easier. Then again, I can see that they have inadequate manpower. That's the problem. Because where they have too many people, it shouldn't be. They should have a minimum of 5 members of staff. They can liaise with NYSC because NYSC members are more reliable. That is why they are reluctant to use traditional rulers. Some of them have been involved in politics, so you can't even trust them. Having said that, now, please, Dr. Okoye, I want to find out from you, how long is INEC supposed to keep voters on uncollected PVC before it can be destroyed? Because I can't understand how they're announcing so many the figures. I begin to wonder whether those people are still alive. Then again, what efforts are you making to make sure that in future, after this particular election now, people should now, you know, think outside the box, find a way of printing these cards in real time. So at least in highest 1 week. This idea of staying over, I don't know, can't we learn how to print here or whatever, I don't know. Then the divas that I have hope in, I'm becoming disappointed as a Nigerian. How come the divas gave room for this thing, over voting? It means your staff are compromising. That is the issue now on ground in court. You know, in one of the off-season elections. Why is there still overvoting with divas?
I get your point, Ada. That's your time. Perhaps we should leave out the court case for now. Let's see how that turned out from the tribunal. It's just a matter of time. We'll find out the details about that. Dr. Okoye, I'll be back with you to answer those questions in a short while. But let me get your perspective as to the security infrastructure. Because INEC is saying if these attacks continue unabated, there is an extent to which we cannot replace all these materials. I know that there have been some foiled attacks, for instance, in Imo State. But what can we do differently on a multi-stakeholder level to ensure that we keep the security situation better as we count down to the election?
As a Nigerian, I see these people attacking INEC facilities as satanic people, evil people, who do not want it well with Nigeria. And I'm saying it again with all sense of authority. Why? Because democracy is the only way we can move our country, and that's what has happened in other climes of the world. So if you are destroying a system and a process and infrastructures that want to give us democracy, then there's something wrong with those people. Then, as a patriot, I will not advise, and I will not advise INEC on security matters in the public domain. There are so many ways in which we can kill a bird or kill a cat. And of course, technology is there. There are so many things we can do to making sure that we now nip this thing in the bed, on ground before it comes up. Several steps. I won't want to mention there are security matters, because even this evil one, the satanic people are watching this program, looking at what we will say for them to now use it to counter us. And I won't think it is good that, and of course, not only INEC. Sometimes I'm a lawyer, and sometimes you see this trial by media trial is not too good. If it comes to court, I'm one of those who normally destroy it in court, because that's not, of course, it goes against the principle of fair hearing, because you already adjudged the person publicly. But let us do things right. It will just be a surprise to them. The elections are coming. Let's plan on the ground how we are going to do it, release the materials and the steps, the route we'll take, and so on. This one will be within the inner caucus. Then, last minute, it is released to people, even including stakeholders. And the security operatives can also work here. Yes, they will involve them. I like the leadership of this INEC now. At least they've been having stakeholders meeting with the security people. So let it be something secret, not something open. As soon as they're having the meeting, and we have deployed people to Ogun State, we have deployed this point to, so we are going to do this. No, they too, they are intelligent. Because at least I've interacted with 1 or 2 people who are victims of kidnappers. And they will tell us that those people are sophisticated in their activities. So these people who have the effrontery, audacity, and that strength to go bombing is specialized.
And greetings to your and the INEC commissioner. I think this process of registration at INEC is what INEC needs to look into. I remember when I was registering for my PVC, I registered and it took me 7 months to get the PVC. in this age of technology, why does it have to take so long after registration, and then it will take 7 months to collect the card? In the U.S., we are copying their standard. You can go on election day to register and vote that day. If INEC cannot give you the card on the day of registration, at least maybe 1 week or a few days, they'll tell you, come and collect. What is the rationale for waiting for 4 years when election is approaching? Somebody that registered a year ago or more than 2 years ago, they are saying he should wait till election is approaching. It should be a continuous process so that these hiccups, when elections are coming, that puts pressure on the system to be avoided. I want the commissioner to please look into this.
Thank you so much for your contribution. It's actually called continuous voter registration. Dr. Okoye, I'm back with you. Ada raised some issues earlier. First is the matter of uncollected PVCs and how long before INEC destroys them. Why we still have some PVCs as far back as 2019. She's talking about the need to fast track the printing of these cards, just like Mr. George raised. And she's also questioning the integrity of the bimodal voter registration system.
Well, I listened to her. She made some suggestions in relation to arranging the cards alphabetically. We have what we call a standard operating procedure for PVC collection. And this has been made available to the resident electoral commissioners and the electoral officers. And we have also asked them to also use their own local initiative and creative mind to make sure that those who are coming to collect these cards collect them seamlessly. But I have taken her advice, and we are going to also look into the issue in the places where we have some level of surge. In terms of getting additional hands, I pointed out that these cards are being made available in 8,809 registration areas. The commission is a public trust. Our funds are appropriated by the National Assembly. So we cannot just dip our hands into funds that are not available and begin to recruit additional hands for some of these areas. As I pointed out, I went to some areas. In fact, I went to one registration area. Only one, the lady who was there had been there from 9 o'clock up to 5 p.m. and only one individual turned up to come and collect. And then I went to some other places. The registration officer, the officers who are giving out these cards had given out over 250 as at 2 p.m. And so it's a mixed bag and it varies. I completely agree that our CVR should be continuous. That was exactly what we wanted to do, but the COVID-19 pandemic distorted somehow our arrangements in relation to this. And moreover, we changed the technology for voters registration so that we can properly and comprehensively capture the fingerprints and facials of intending people who are intending to come and vote. On the issue of the beavers, as you pointed out, a matter is already in court. And until that matter is disposed of, the commission will not make any comment in terms of what the people are calling overvoting. Because as far as we are concerned, what is in court as of today remains at the level of speculation and allegation until there's a concrete finding by a properly constituted court of law relating to the issues. And then after that, we will make our explanation and give a comprehensive briefing on what transpired in relation to the Osun and Ekiti governorship election. But the stakeholders have commended the commission at the way we conducted all the off-cycle governorship elections. And we are confident of our process, in our processes and in our procedures. But we keep on making improvements. We keep on learning with every passing day. We don't have all the store of knowledge. So we engage in both internal and external evaluation of our processes. We learn valuable lessons and we make amends and we continue to improve.
Hold on, Dr. Okoye. Olamide has called in from Shomolu in Lagos. Good morning.
Good morning. So, hello.
Please go ahead with your contribution.
My question is to Mr. Festus. So okay. I did my transfer of PVC since October last year was approved. I went there to INEC office in Shomolu to get my PVC as of November. They said it was not ready. They said it will come back in December, that I should check back December. I went there again in December. It's still not there. Now, they said I should come back January. This is already January, and we have like how many days left for me to get the PVC? Please, what is happening to people that did transfer?
Have you been there in January?
Yeah, I went
excuse me, let me ask you a question. He transferred from where to where? Where did he transfer from and to where?
Lagos. From Ogun State to Lagos.
You transferred from Ogun State to Lagos?
Yes, and that was done.
When the transfer, did you tell the officer that what you wanted to do was transfer and not that you registered afresh?
I did it online.
You did it online?
Yes, online.
Please, what you should do, go back to the place, give your details to the electoral officer for that particular local government. I'm going to call the electoral officer for that particular local government and get your details and find out what the problem is.
Dr. Okoye, the gentleman said he's done that twice.
You know what? My own intervention would be, if you can have a picture.
Let him.
Hello, my brother.
After this particular program, let him call in and give you his details, and then I will run the system in our office and find out what the problem is. And then
all right, just a minute. Olamide, hold on the line and let the producer get you Dr. Okoye's number so you can reach him after the show. You want to say something, sir?
Yes, I want to say that if he said he registered online, at least there will be something that propped up from INEC. Let him pick that one, print it, and go to INEC office.
He said he's been there twice.
No, maybe he wasn't there. He didn't go with what I said. Maybe he just went there mouthing. Let him go with an evidence that this is what happened. If they see it, then they will do that, the needful.
Dr. Okoye, let's quickly talk about INEC's preparation for this particular election. Because sometime last year, the president was quoted to have said that he has fulfilled all the demands made by the commission. And as such, excuses will not be tolerated. I mean, the perception is that you have asked for everything, I've given you all the money. So the question is, does INEC has all it needs now?
No, that should not be the question you should be asking. You should be asking of the level of INEC's preparation relating to this particular election.
Okay, so
if that is the question I understand you to be asking, I want to tell you that, for instance, this election will be technology driven. Has the commission gotten the full measure of all the beavers that will be used for this election? My answer is yes. We have the full complement of the beavers that will be deployed to the 176,846 polling units. Do we have redundancies or spares for the 8,809 registration areas? My answer is yes. Have we taken hold and delivery of all the beavers? My answer is yes. Are we training the registration area technical support staff that will be charged with the responsibility of training the ad hoc staff on how to operate the beavers and how to troubleshoot the beavers? My answer is yes. If you are asking about the non-sensitive materials, I want to assure the nation that we have deployed over 60% of the non-sensitive materials required for the conduct of this election. And the only challenge this commission has as of today, and I want to say it and say it clearly, are two. One, the security situation in different parts of the country. And secondly, the whole challenge of the multiplicity of court cases in different parts of the country relating to the conduct of party primary elections. Other than that, as far as the commission is concerned, we prepared and we are preparing well. And we are going to be ready for the conduct of this election well ahead of the election. And so in terms of our own processes and procedures, we are in a comfortable position than we were in 2019.
All right, so you have answered my question
in a long way
by saying that you have all that you need except for two things: security and multiplicity of court cases. So Mr. President should fix security. He has anything.
He has no multiplicity of court cases, and
that's a huge challenge.
And
the baggage of
pre-election
court matters.
No. That one again has been taken care of. We have pre-election matters. We have a timeline for pre-election matters. I handle election matters, and of course they will be done with within before. The last issue on election and pre-election matters will be dealt with at least the first week of February.
Please hold that thought.
You can take that to the bank.
Hold that thought. Let's take the last call on the show this morning. Chidi has called in from Kaduna. Hi, Chidi.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning.
Good morning, the barrister in the house.
Good morning, sir.
And also good morning to Mr. Festus Okoye, barrister. As far as I'm concerned, the INEC has done very, very creditably well in terms of voter awareness and registration so far. But for me, I think the most important aspect that they should look into has to do with the security of ensuring a peaceful and as well as a credible election. More emphasis should please be placed on providing security both during, after, and after the elections. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Chidi, for your contribution. So you're saying all pre-election matters will be done with by when?
They will be done with by the first week of February. That's the law. It can't go into the election.
So INEC has nothing to worry about?
No, they shouldn't worry. They should go on with their plans.
So, Dr. Okoye, we have taken out the multiplicity of cases.
No.
Okay.
Let me just say this.
Okay.
If you look at Section 245 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
yes,
it gives the Court of First Instance a total of 180 days to resolve the matter at the level of the Court of First Instance.
Yes.
And then it gives the Court of Appeal 60 days and the Supreme Court 60 days.
Yes.
But what the President of the Court of Appeal and the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court have done is to set up special panels to deal with some of these cases so that they don't flow over to a situation where we are going to finish conducting elections and there will still be pre-election matters pending. And so I think that some of these matters hopefully will be resolved at least by the end of this by the end of January, so that the commission can go ahead and print the ballot papers for federal constituencies, state constituencies,
it's the same thing we're saying, Dr.
Okoye,
that we have knocked out the multiplicity of cases from the two exceptions you gave us earlier. We're now left with security. However, you were quoted to have said that Nigeria's election this year will be the most credible in Africa. Are you still standing by that quote?
No, we acknowledge much more concretely into our electoral process. And we have made sure that we are training our ad hoc staff and training them very, very well. We have signed a new MOU with the National Union of Road Transport Workers, with the National Association of Road Transport Owners, and with the Marine Union. And so we are firming up our processes and our procedures. So in terms of organizing, undertaking, and supervising election, we're on top of our game, and we don't envisage any challenge whatsoever.
So INEC has given us his word. The president is saying, I'm going to deliver a free and fair election. I think it's left to Nigerians now to stand there and say, I'm going to have my PVC and also exercise my franchise.
Yes, and doing it without fighting, no thuggery. As we go into the elections itself now, it should be just waiting to cast your vote, not feast, but your thumb. Indeed. Let your thumb talk. Leave everything, and of course, just be patient. It does not matter what. You have your PVC, you know what you register, you have seen your name at a ward, then definitely you are going to vote. All you need to do is to cooperate with the INEC people there. Even, of course, some of them are children, some of them are youngsters, some of us are experienced. All we need to do is to help them, to teach them, and of course, any troublemaker should be put where it belongs to. Report them to the security agents. They don't want us well with, they don't want it well with Nigeria. We want to vote peacefully. So anybody who comes to election point and wants to disturb or dabaru, as we normally call it, will hand the person over to the police. Shikena.
Wale Ogwade, constitutional lawyer, national president, Voters Awareness Initiative. Thank you for coming.
To God be the glory.
Dr. Festus,
and you did remind, I forgot, Happy New Year to my people.
Indeed.
This is our year, 2023, that magic year.
Dr. Festus Okoye, INEC's National Commissioner, also Chairman.
Thank you so much.
That's our show today. I'm Nifemi Oguntoye. The conversation continues on Twitter at Nifemi Oguntoye. See you again tomorrow.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Introducing the new Pressure King Pro from ShopX TV. the amazing 14-in-1 digital pressure cooker that saves you time and money. Want to cook proper meals but can hardly find the time? We all have busy schedules, but hurried lifestyles means meals on the run, maybe even whole weeks with too much processed or fast foods. The amazing Shopex 14-in-1 digital pressure cooker cooks up to 90% faster than conventional appliances. And because